Sunset at Moraine Lake was something I was told specifically not to miss, but what happens when the weather does not cooperate? Hi, I'm Sarah and welcome back to my channel. Back in June, I visited Banff with my siblings and their families, and we had an amazing time. A friend in Calgary told me to visit Moraine Lake at sunset, so we booked a sunset and stargazing tour. But spoiler alert, the weather did not allow for any sunset views or stargazing, but the tour actually ended up still being awesome. So here is our full experience of the sunset and stargazing tour with no sunset or stargazing, but why I still think it's worth considering when you visit Banff. If you're new to Banff planning, one important thing to know is that you can no longer drive to Moraine Lake. The road is now closed to personal vehicles because traffic had become dangerous, especially during peak season. You can technically bike or walk the road, but for most visitors, the easiest option is booking a shuttle or a tour. For this trip, we chose a sunset and stargazing tour, which made everything simple: transportation, timing, and zero stress about parking. The idea to visit Moraine Lake at sunset actually came from a friend of mine in Calgary. She specifically said, if you can go in the evening for sunset. Sunset tours have a few big advantages. You don't have to wake up before the sunrise, and there are often far fewer people. Sunrise is popular, but sunset can actually be quieter, especially once day visitors clear out, and the views can be just as stunning, although we didn't get the beautiful sunset views. We booked the Sunset at Moraine Lake and Stargazing tour from Canmore for the 4th night of our 5 days in Banff. Pickup was right across the street from where we were staying, which was especially nice since it was raining. Our group was small, about 10 people, and the tour maxes out at 13, so it never felt crowded. Our first stop was Morant's Curve, a famous viewpoint along Bow Parkway. We didn't catch the train, but the scenery alone was worth stopping for, and we even spotted elk on this road, which ended up being our only wildlife sighting of the entire trip. We knew the weather wasn't likely going to change, but by this point it was clear we definitely were not getting a sunset or stargazing night. But instead of canceling, the tour adapted the plan. We'd visit Moraine Lake, and then we would get to see Lake Louise after. Honestly, it ended up being a great experience. When we arrived at Moraine Lake, the parking lot was completely empty. The tour provided ponchos and umbrellas, and after a quick bathroom stop, these are pit toilets by the way, we walked down to the lake. Even under heavy cloud cover and rain, the color of Moraine Lake was absolutely unreal. The turquoise water was still vibrant, the lake was completely calm, and the canoes against the mountains were breathtaking. We didn't see a single other visitor, just a few guests watching from the windows of Moraine Lake Lodge. No sunset, no stars, and yet it was absolutely magical. Because of the weather, the tour added a stop at Lake Louise, and seeing it at dusk was a completely different experience from the previous morning. The day before, we had arrived around 8 a.m. and it was already packed, but at sunset, almost no one was around. Of course, it was rainy weather, so keep that in mind if you do visit at sunset and see more people. But if you want to see Lake Louise without the crowds and don't plan on hiking, then sunset is an option worth considering. If you are doing a sunset visit to Moraine Lake, then layers are essential. Temperatures drop quickly and comfortable footwear with good traction is important. The tour provided hot drinks, water refills, ponchos, and umbrellas, but bringing snacks and a camera with night mode is a good idea. I was definitely bummed that we didn't get the sunset or stargazing, but Moraine Lake still completely blew me away. The lack of crowds, the calm atmosphere, and the color of the lake made this experience absolutely worth it. If you're planning a Banff trip and want a quieter way to see Moraine Lake, don't overlook sunset, even if the weather does not cooperate. If you found this helpful, I've linked my full blog post and Banff itinerary below in the description. And that is it for today. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, bye!